So to start off Unit 11, we're going to look at a new definition and a new way to talk about angles. So throughout Unit 2, we were dealing with right triangles, and all of our angles were measured in degrees. Like we added right triangles to look like this, like a 30-degree angle here, a 60-degree angle there, and a 90-degree angle there. All right, we're going to formally define what a degree is, and then we're going to move on to a new type of way to measure angles. All right, so in order to define what a degree is, the first thing to do is define what an angle is in standard position. So standard position is kind of its own special thing, but we're just going to kind of assume from now on all of our angles are in standard position, but this is the way it works. So if we have our XY plane, one side of our angle is always going to be the positive x-axis. So it's always going to start here and go off to the right. So we'll always have this as part of our angle. And then what we're going to do is kind of start with the other side of our angle on top of this angle and then rotate it counterclockwise until we get to the point we want, and maybe my other side ends up there. So I took this blue blue ray and rotated it up there to create this angle, and you can see the angle it makes right there. All right, so this is the way we're going to think about angles from now on. All right, there's a couple of convenient things about this. One, a 45-degree angle will always look the same because it's always starting and rotating 45 degrees. Another thing this allows us to do is if we had our initial side there and we rotate, we can actually rotate around the circle a couple times and then still end up with some angle. We can get these really big angles, and this is something that we'll talk about more later, but you don't get just stuck between 0 and 90. You can get a lot of bigger angles and things like that. All right, so now that we know what an angle is in standard position, we can talk about what it means in degrees. So we're going to have our angle in standard position, our initial side and our terminal side. We're going to just put a circle with the center there. So we'll just draw some circle. And we're going to break this circle up into 360 equal pieces. You know, a full circle is 360 degrees. So we're going to break it up into a bunch of little pieces. Well, obviously not going to do that by hand, but all right, but you break this circle up into all those equal pieces, and you basically just count how many of those pieces you hit as you rotate around, and for this angle you get something like 135 degrees. So that's the formal way to define degrees, is you're basically just counting how many of these equal parts of this circle your angle hits as you rotate around. All right, so let's draw these different angles in standard position. So right away, since they're in standard position, I know they all have that positive x-axis as its initial side. All right, so I can always start off with all those with that arrow going straight off to the right, and this would be the point 0, 0 on the left, kind of where it starts. All right, so for 45 degrees, we're going to rotate our terminal side away 45 degrees, and we've seen a 45-degree angle before. It's kind of that angle there. All right, so that angle is 45 degrees. All right, in standard position. That's the only way you could draw a 45-degree angle in standard position. All right, next is 90 degrees. 90 degrees, you know, is a right angle. And again, I'm rotating this way to get my right angle, so this is 90 degrees. And again, the only way you could draw 90 degrees in standard positions like this. All right, 160. We're not actually going to break up a circle and count 160 equal pieces, but there's a couple of things we know. We know going straight up is 190. And we know going straight to the left is 180. 160 is somewhere between 90 and 180. So our angle is going to look something like that. All right, so that angle there is 160 degrees. All right, so it does not have to be perfect, but it should be kind of in the right general area. Same thing with 210. We're not going to know exactly where 210 is. You could use a protractor and stuff, but the important thing is we know going in a straight line is 180 degrees. 210 is a little bit more than 180, so it'll probably look something like that. All right, so that's 210 degrees. All right, and the last thing is this one, 30 degrees, except for there's a negative sign in front of it. So the only difference with a negative sign is instead of rotating counterclockwise, I'm just going to rotate clockwise. So I go clockwise to a 30-degree angle, and that is going to be negative 30 degrees. And so another benefit of kind of having our angles in standard position is we can make sense of what a negative angle actually means. It just means we're rotating in the opposite direction. All right, so now we're going to define something new. So now we formally define degrees. We have these degrees angles in standard position. We're going to talk about a new way to measure angles. Before we do that, why do we not want to use degrees all the time? The basic idea is that Degrees is something that's kind of just made up. The fact that there's 360 degrees in a circle is just kind of some number that was picked a long time ago. 360 was picked kind of intelligently, in that the reason 360 was picked is because it's divisible by a lot of numbers: 2, 3, 6, 12. All these nice numbers divide 360 evenly without getting decimals. So that's why 360 is convenient, but it's still just a number that humans picked because it was convenient at the time. There's actually other types of things. One culture used 400 because 400 can be broken down into fours easily, and you get nice 100-degree angles. Well, they wouldn't be degrees anymore, but 100 would be a right angle instead of 90. So this number is kind of arbitrary, and once you start doing more complex formulas and complex math, this 360 causes all types of problems. So we want to figure out a new way that's kind of more geometric to define the measure of an angle. And this new angle is going to be called a radian. So it's called a radian because it's related to the radius of a circle. And just like yards and meters, these are just two different ways to measure how long something is. I can measure this in yards, or I can measure it in meters. Radians and degrees are the same thing. It's just we have an angle, we can measure it in degrees, just like we already did, or we can measure it in radians. So here's the definition of a radian. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have our angle in standard position. We're going to rotate counterclockwise. Let's just say we have that. We're going to start off the same like we did with degrees. We're going to have a circle that's centered there, except for here we're going to use a unit circle. Unit just means the radius is 1, and that'll be an important thing for this whole unit. But this is a radius 1 circle. And then we're going to look at, as we rotated this terminal side away, this blue side away, we hit the outside of this circle as we rotated. And however long this green part is the angle in radians. So the length of the green arc, which is called the intercepted arc because that's where your angle is hitting, so it's intercepting it. The length of the green arc is equal to the radians of the angle. So we're defining our angle now based on kind of the circumference of this circle. But it's a more geometric property rather than kind of dividing the circle up into randomly 360 equal pieces. We're using the actual circumference of a circle to talk about how big our angle is. And obviously if I hit more of the circumference, I'm going to have a bigger angle. If I hit less of the circumference, I'm going to have a smaller angle. So it's still a way I can talk about how big an angle is. So if we do a full rotation in radians, what is it going to be? So I'd have my initial side, I'd rotate all the way around and end up with my terminal side in the exact same place. But if I think about the intercepted arc of this unit circle, I would rotate all the way around and I would get the full circle. I've rotated all the way around, I've hit the full circle as my intercepted arc. So the radian measure is the same as their circumference, which we know is 2 pi r. And one of the important things on the previous slide was that the radius was 1 because it's a unit circle. So it means it's just 2 pi. So a full circle in radians is going to be 2 pi. What do we think a half circle is going to be? Well, a half circle, I would get half as far. So I would have to take the full circle and do half of it, and I would just get pi. So this is the only problem with radians, is that it's not as convenient when you get some of these nice angles. When we did a full circle in degrees, you get 360 degrees. A half circle in degrees is 180 degrees. In radians, you always have this kind of pi hanging around, which makes it a little bit more annoying, but it is, like I said, a more geometric way to define what an angle is. But this is the important fact, knowing that a full circle in radians is 2 pi radians. The actual thing you're going to have to do for this learning objective is going backwards and forwards between radians and degrees. Our goal is to only use radians, but right now we're just learning it, so we're going to kind of go backward and forward with degrees and radians. And the way we're going to do that is using this conversion ratio. So if you know this ratio, then you can always go backwards and forward between your two units. So this is half a circle, 180 degrees is when you've rotated to look like that. And we just saw on the last slide that's also pi radians. So these two things are equal to each other, and this is what we'll use to do our conversions. So in these examples, we're going to convert from degrees to radians. All right, and the way you do this is you always think about what unit you don't want and what unit you do want. So I want degrees to go away. So I'm going to multiply this by a fraction. I'm going to put the degrees unit on the bottom, because then when I multiply this degrees unit here and that degrees unit there will cancel. We'll put the other unit we do want, which is radians. I'm just going to pi radians. Radians is kind of annoying because it doesn't have a nice symbol. You just actually write out RID for radians. And then we can multiply. We get 270 pi over 180 radians. And then we're just trying to simplify this fraction. So it's 27 pi over 18 radians. Let's divide everything by 10. And then both of those are divisible by 9. So we get 3 pi over 2 radians. All right, so 270 degrees is the same as 3 pi over 2 radians. But this is the same thing with any unit conversion you have. All right, just cancel out the unit you don't want, get the unit you do want. Negative 300 degrees. The negative is not going to do anything at the start. All right, we're still going to multiply by pi radians over 180 degrees. Because I know the degrees should be on the bottom, so that cancels. Negative 300 pi over 180 radians. And again, now it's just simplifying this fraction. Negative 30 pi over 18. And let's see, both those are divisible by 6, so negative 5 pi over 3 radians. All right, so negative 300 degrees is the same as negative 5 pi over 3 radians. So you can see with our radians, a lot of times we're going to have fractions, and we're almost always going to have our pi as well. All right, now we're going to go from from radians to degrees. Again, when I multiply, I'm going to multiply by a fraction, but I just make sure on the bottom is unit I'm trying to cancel out. So now the pi radians is going to go on the bottom, and the 180 degrees is going to go on the top. Because that'll make sure that the radians unit cancels. Most of the time for these, the pi's will cancel as well. And this is going to be 180 over 3 degrees, which is 60 degrees. So we get 60 degrees as our answer in as the same as pi over 3 radians. All right, normally when we have a radian measure, it will have a pi in it because it's all related to 2 pi being a full circle, but you could have a 5 radians. Right, but when we do this, it'll be the same thing, 180 degrees over pi radians. Make sure the radians cancel. And 5 times 180 is going to be on the top. Let's see what that's going to be. I had to use a calculator. 5 times 180 is 900. And there's no nice way to simplify this one, so 5 radians is the same as 900 divided by pi degrees. Whatever that's going to be, it's not going to be a nice number because we started off with a radians that didn't have a pi in it. All right, and here's one for you to try on your own. All right, convert 5 pi over 2 into radians. Into degrees. All right, and you should get 450 degrees. Again, just making sure that you put the pi radians on the bottom so the radians unit canceled, and then simplifying down. All right, one thing you might wonder is 450 degrees possible? And this is the thing with having an angle in standard position. All right, normally, if I just draw an angle like this, you're going to automatically assume that it's a 90-degree angle. But now in standard position, I can rotate my terminal side all the way around the circle once and then here, and that's actually going to be a 450-degree angle. So it looks just like a 90-degree angle, but I've done this extra revolution around to actually get an angle that's bigger than 360 degrees. So that's the real benefit of having angles in standard position with this new way to define them. All right, so for this learning objective, we're going to keep problems on delta math. I convert 2 radians for 5 problems, convert 2 degrees for another 5 problems.